Scorpio, if you have a Capricorn in your life right now, whether as a romantic partner, close friend, co-worker, or even someone you just met who already occupies a strange space in your mind, you need to understand something crucial. This is not an accident. It's not a coincidence. It's not a random occurrence of the universe. It's a direct summons, an encounter orchestrated by forces that operate far beyond what you can see. And if you're feeling that unsettling sense of familiarity with someone you barely know, that instant recognition that makes no logical sense, that magnetic attraction that goes far beyond the physical or emotional, it's because your soul has recognized something that your conscious mind is still trying to process. Capricorns don't appear in Scorpios' lives by chance. They are sent, summoned, magnetically drawn into your energy field at specific moments when you are about to undergo transformations that can only happen through that specific connection. And the most impressive thing? Capricorns feel the same thing. That strangeness of looking at you and feeling like they've known you for 1,000 years. That inexplicable certainty that they need to be near you, even when it defies all logic. That feeling that meeting you has fundamentally changed something in their reality. Can you feel now, reading these words, that there is something much bigger happening between you than any rational explanation could describe? What I'm about to reveal will help you understand why you feel so deeply connected to Capricorns in a way you can't explain to anyone, not even to yourself most of the time. I'm going to show you what really happens when a Scorpio and a Capricorn meet, why this connection is so intense it's almost frightening, why you both feel you finally found someone who understands you without needing words, why each other's presence brings both peace and unsettling. And most importantly, I'm going to reveal the real purpose of this encounter, because yes, there is a very specific and much greater purpose than you imagine. Scorpio, when a Capricorn enters your life, it's not to fill a void, it's not to complete you, it's not because you needed someone. It's because you're ready for something that can only happen through the unique alchemy that exists between these two signs. You are water and earth, elements that, when they meet, create fertile ground where extraordinary things can grow. But it's not a gentle or easy combination. It's a mixture that requires both of you to transform in the process. Capricorn brings to Scorpio something that no other sign can: structure for intensity, form for emotional chaos, direction for brute force. Scorpio has such powerful, transformative, and profound energy that it can easily get lost in its own intensity. It can drown in its own emotions. It can be consumed by its own inner fire. And then Capricorn appears with that disconcerting serenity, that ability to look into Scorpio's emotional abyss without fear, without judgment, without trying to escape or change anything. Just observing, absorbing, and offering the one thing Scorpio secretly desires but rarely finds: stability that doesn't suffocate. And Scorpio? Scorpio brings to Capricorn what they need most, but are most afraid to feel: real emotional depth. Capricorns live so long protected behind walls of control, rationality, and self-restraint that they begin to believe that this is all there is. That deep emotions are weakness, that vulnerability is danger. And then Scorpio arrives, looks them straight in the eyes with that intensity that sees through all masks, and silently says, "I see who you really are beneath all that control, and I'm not scared. In fact, it's exactly that real person I want to know." This connection scares you both because neither of you is used to being truly seen. Scorpio hides their vulnerabilities behind intensity and mystery. Capricorn hides theirs behind competence and control. But when you two meet, those defenses don't work. You see each other with a clarity that is simultaneously liberating and terrifying. And that's exactly why you were placed in each other's path, because you both desperately needed someone who had the courage to see and be seen completely. For Scorpios born between October 23rd and November 2nd, Capricorns appear specifically when you are ready to transform emotional intensity into concrete material power. They teach you that feeling deeply is important, but it's also important to build something tangible with that depth. For those born between November 3rd and 12th, Capricorn emerges when you need to learn about patience and long-term strategy, about how to channel your transformative nature in a way that creates lasting impact instead of just intense temporary bursts. And for Scorpios, born between November 13th and 21st, Capricorn enters your life to show you that vulnerability and strength are not opposites. They can coexist in the same person, at the same moment, creating something more powerful than either one alone could be. But here's something few understand about this connection. Capricorn doesn't appear in Scorpio's life to fix or correct anything. They aren't your saviors. They aren't here to solve your problems or calm your inner storms. They appear as mirrors, as catalysts, as the element that causes a chemical reaction that was waiting to happen but needed the right ingredient. Capricorn's presence in your life activates parts of you that were dormant. It challenges you in ways no one else can. It pushes you out of the emotional comfort zone where you hid, calling it depth. And for Capricorn, Scorpio appears precisely when their walls are starting to become so high and so thick that they risk getting completely lost within them. When control has become a prison, when competence has become a mechanism for emotional avoidance, when ambition has become an excuse for not feeling anything deeply, Scorpio arrives and literally forces Capricorn to feel. It gives no choice. It doesn't accept superficiality. It doesn't allow Capricorn to continue pretending to be an efficient machine without emotional needs. The tension that exists between you two, the kind that sometimes seems unbearable, stems precisely from this. You are constantly challenging each other's core defenses. Scorpio wants to go deeper, always deeper, and Capricorn resists because depth without direction seems like chaos. Capricorn wants structure, plans, control, and Scorpio resists because this seems like a limitation of the intensity that defines their essence. You pull each other in opposite directions, and in this pulling, in this constant tension, something magical happens. You both evolve. Scorpio learns that feeling intensely is powerful, but channeling that intensity toward concrete goals multiplies its impact. They learn that not every transformation needs to be dramatic and destructive. Sometimes, the most profound changes happen through small, consistent actions over time. They learn that vulnerability without wisdom is merely an open wound, but vulnerability with strategy is supreme strength. Capricorn learns that control is an illusion, and that the only thing they can truly control is how they respond to the uncontrollable. They learn that deep feelings don't make them weak. They make them human, and that humanity is what makes their achievements meaningful instead of empty. They learn that sometimes you need to dive into the emotional unknown without a map, without a plan, without guarantees, and trust that you will survive whatever you find there. But here's the deeper truth about why Capricorns appear in Scorpio's lives. You two share something few signs share. You both know real darkness. Not the romanticized version of darkness, not the aesthetic or philosophical version. Real darkness, the kind you traverse alone in the hours before dawn when you doubt everything, including yourself. Scorpio knows emotional darkness, the abysses of the human soul, the depths of suffering, the shadowy territory where fears reside that people don't even confess to themselves. Capricorn knows existential darkness, the loneliness of carrying responsibilities no one else sees, the weight of continuing to climb when every muscle screams to stop, the hopelessness that comes from fighting so hard and sometimes feeling like it means nothing. You recognize that darkness in each other instantly, and instead of feeling repulsion or fear, you feel relief. Because you've finally found someone who won't pretend that everything is light and toxic positivity. Someone who can sit with you in the darkness without trying to fix it or artificially illuminate it. Someone who understands that sometimes you need to go through the darkness completely to reach the true light on the other side. This is the true foundation of your connection. It's not superficial attraction. It's not compatibility of hobbies or life goals. It's recognition of warriors. You both fought battles no one saw. You survived things that should have broken you. You rebuilt yourselves from the ashes more times than you can count. And when you meet, you don't need to explain any of it. You just know. You see the invisible scars in each other. You honor the strength it took to keep going. And silently, you make a pact. I see your strength. I respect your battles. And I will not minimize or romanticize anything you have survived. But Scorpio, here's something crucial you need to understand about Capricorns. They won't express connection the way you expect. They won't declare their feelings dramatically. They won't have long, deep conversations about the meaning of your connection. They won't make grand romantic gestures that demonstrate emotional intensity. This doesn't mean they don't feel deeply. It means they demonstrate love through consistent actions instead of dramatic words. Through being present when they promise. Through building something solid instead of just feeling intensely. And this might frustrate you initially because you want to dive into the emotional depths immediately. You want to dissect every feeling. You want visible, palpable intensity. But what Capricorn is teaching you is that there's a different kind of depth, the depth that comes from consistency rather than intensity, the depth that reveals itself through years of reliable presence rather than months of burning passion, the depth that is built brick by brick rather than felt in overwhelming bursts. And Capricorn needs to understand that when Scorpio brings intensity, it's not unnecessary drama. It's pure emotional honesty. It's a refusal to pretend to feel less than you really do. It's the courage to live in vibrant colors instead of safe shades of gray. Scorpio isn't being difficult or excessive. It's being authentically human in a way that Capricorn needs to witness, to remember that feeling deeply isn't weakness, it's power. The dynamic between you will always be one of push and pull, closeness and distance. Intense intimacy followed by a need for space. And that's exactly how it should be, because you are both signs that need independence as much as you need connection. You are not signs that merge and lose your identity in each other. You maintain your individual strengths and create something new when you meet, without losing who you are in the process. But here's what will determine whether this connection between Scorpio and Capricorn becomes one of the most transformative and meaningful experiences of their lives, or whether it dissolves into frustration and misunderstanding. Respect. Not just love, not just attraction, not just compatibility. Deep respect for the fundamental differences between you. Scorpio needs to respect that Capricorn processes emotions differently and that this doesn't make their feelings any less real or profound. Capricorn needs to respect that Scorpio needs emotional intensity and that this isn't instability or drama. It's their natural way of experiencing life. When this respect exists, something magical happens. You create a space where Scorpio can be intensely emotional without fear of being judged as too much, and Capricorn can let their guard down without fear of being judged as cold, where differences become complementary instead of conflicting, where each becomes more complete, not despite the differences, but precisely because of them. Scorpio, Capricorns appear in your life specifically at times when you need to learn about the power of patience. About how real and lasting transformations take time, about how the greatest strength is sometimes the ability to wait, build, and persist. You, who are all about quick and intense transformation, need to learn that some changes can only happen slowly, that some goals are only achieved through consistent effort day after day, year after year, that not everything needs to be intense to be profound. And when you truly integrate this lesson that Capricorn brings, you become unstoppable. Because now you have not only depth and intensity, but also discipline and persistence. You have not only the power to transform, but the wisdom of when and how to apply that power for maximum impact. You become someone who can both dive into emotional abysses and climb practical mountains, and do both with mastery. For Capricorn, Scorpio appears when they need to remember that they are not machines, that having emotional needs is not weakness, that asking for help does not diminish their achievements, that vulnerability is courage, not cowardice. Scorpio forces Capricorn to confront everything they have buried in the name of efficiency and ambition, and initially, this is terrifying. But when Capricorn finally allows themselves to feel everything they have been repressing, when they finally lower the walls and allow Scorpio in, something fundamental heals within them. They discover that they can be both strong and vulnerable, both ambitious and emotionally available, both competent and in need of real connection. And this integration makes them not weaker, but infinitely stronger. Because now they have access to the entire spectrum of human experience instead of just half of it. The truth that few talk about regarding the Scorpio-Capricorn connection is that you choose each other repeatedly, not just once at the beginning. You have to choose to stay, choose to understand, choose to respect the differences, choose to work through the frustrations, and make those choices again and again. Because the connection between you isn't easy. It never will be, but it's real in a way that few connections are. It's profound in a way that transcends the ordinary. It's meaningful in a way that fundamentally changes who you are. Scorpio, when a Capricorn looks at you and truly sees you, not the persona you show the world, not the intensity you wear as armor, but the real you, something inside you relaxes in a way it may never have before. Because you spend so much time being mysterious, intense, powerful, that you forget you also need to be seen in your vulnerability. Capricorn isn't afraid of your darkness. They won't abandon you when you show the parts of yourself they consider ugly or too intense. They will stay. They will observe. They will accept. And in that acceptance, you find a peace you didn't know you were looking for. And when Scorpio looks at Capricorn and sees not only competence and control, but the lonely person who carries so much weight alone, who is so tired of always having to be strong, Capricorn experiences, perhaps for the first time in life, what it is to be truly known, not admired for their achievements, not valued for what they can do, but seen and loved for the person you are when you remove all the masks of competence. And in being seen, Capricorn finds permission to finally rest, to not have to be strong for a few moments, to allow themselves to need someone. This is what you give each other at the best of this connection. Scorpio gives Capricorn permission to feel. Capricorn gives Scorpio direction to transform. And together, you create something that neither of you could create alone. A connection that is simultaneously deeply emotional and solidly structured, intensely transformative and patiently built, vulnerable and strong at the same time. But I need to warn you, Scorpio, not every Capricorn who comes into your life is ready for that depth. Some are still so protected behind their walls that they will see you as a threat instead of a gift. They will resist the intensity you bring. They will try to make you feel that you are too much. And when that happens, you need the wisdom to recognize that it's not about you. It's about them not being ready for what you offer. And that's okay. Let go without bitterness. Because the right Capricorn, the one who is truly ready for the depth you bring, will receive you not with fear, but with relief. As if they had finally found what they were looking for without knowing they were looking for it. Scorpio, if you have a Capricorn in your life right now, pay attention to what they are teaching you through their presence. Observe where you are being challenged to be more patient, where you are being invited to build instead of just transform, where you are being pushed to channel your intensity towards concrete goals. These are the lessons you need right now, and when you integrate them, you will become an even more powerful version of yourself. And if you're a Capricorn with a Scorpio in your life, observe where you're being invited to feel more deeply, where you're being challenged to let go of control and trust the emotional process, where you're being pushed to value connection as much as achievement. These are the lessons that will make you a more complete person, more human, more alive. If this message resonated deeply with you, If you recognized your connection to a Capricorn in these words, simply share "I understand now" in the comments. This will not only mark your recognition of the purpose of this connection, but also create a support network with other Scorpios who are navigating this type of intense and transformative relationship. Subscribe to the channel now, because in the next videos, I will explore in more depth the dynamics between Scorpio and other signs, how to navigate the specific challenges of each combination, and how to use these astrological connections for your maximum evolution. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any content that will help you better understand not only your relationships, but yourself through them. Capricorns appear in Scorpios' lives because you both have something rare to offer each other. You don't complete each other, you challenge each other to become more evolved versions of yourselves. You don't merge, you maintain your individual strengths and create something new when you meet. You don't make each other's lives easier, you make them more meaningful, deeper, more real. And in the end, that's the connection that truly matters. Not the easy one, but the one that transforms you. Not the one that comforts you in who you already are, but the one that challenges you to become who you can be. That's the real reason Capricorn appeared in your life, Scorpio. To show you that you are even more powerful than you imagine.